Hello. Getting ready to go on a hiking adventure with some friends of mine. So people have asked, going out west, we're hitting the Tetons. Living here in Iowa, somewhat flatland. We only have about 950 feet of elevation here in Cedar Rapids with Mount Trashmore. How do you train for a hike like that? So I tell people, I reverse timeline. Even though we are flat, we don't have the altitude that the West has. You can still get yourself in shape, meaning that doing cardio, doing some weight training, but more importantly, just getting that pack on, getting it close to gain time weight that you're at, which is around 36 to 38 pounds with food and water for me. But getting the pack on, making sure it fits well, getting your body adjusted and used to carrying that pack and that weight, and then making sure everything's adjusted right where you need it, right? All the tangibles that you can take care of vis-a-vis working, trying to get things fit, making sure your shoes fit, getting good socks. I think a lot of people run into problems that they get blisters, and that's just making sure that you have the right amount of time in what you're going to be hiking in. But the elevation is something that is going to be tough no matter what. But I usually, like I said, reverse timeline from about 2 months ago, hiked probably about 2 or 3 times a week. Now leading up to the last 3 weeks up to departure time for the hike, I was actually every other day at Mount Trashmore, usually hiking anywhere between 2 to 3 to 4 times up the hill. So getting that kind of uphill elevation climb, body used to it. And I went out with some friends to like Lake McBride and those kind of areas doing some rolling hill thing. But making sure that you've got all the tangibles, because you don't want to travel all that way, spend all this money, and be miserable out there. So try to get in the best shape, have everything fit appropriately, get your shoes, get your clothing, everything that you can without being out west. Try to get that all done and making sure you've got the appropriate gear, no extras, making sure you're keeping that weight as low as possible as well. Okay, people have also asked me about this hike that we're doing. We're doing the Teton Crest Trail, about 40 miles, starting in Jackson Hole, going up to Jenny Lake, coming back down. My gear, I have a 65-liter pack. Pretty much perfect for me for anywhere between a 4, 5, 6, 7-day hike as possible. Water and food are always going to be the tangibles. You're going to adjust to that. But this fits all of my gear appropriately, fits well, it's broken. I've had it now for 2 or 3 years. It's a 65 liter, and that's how they measure these. So I'll talk about some of the gear that I have here. I have a 1-person tent with tent poles and a fly and all the attachments there. Very easy to set up. I set it up in the dark. I know it in and out, slept in it many times, and that's the thing as well. I think people will buy gear and then they don't appropriately test it out. So I've had all of my gear here. I've used it, I've prepped it, and I can pretty much put it up, use it, utilize it in the dark or in daylight hours. With that, I always have a light, right? A head lantern. Make sure you have batteries and charged batteries and spare batteries for that. I also keep a little hand torch as well that I can keep in my side pocket just in case something happens or I want to see something on the hike. I keep garbage bag and bungees just in case I have something break or I want to hang clothes out to dry. There are many mountain lakes out here. I'm going to try to get in as many as possible. I do have a Leatherman, kind of a fix-all that I use for any type of breaks or any type of fix-its. I keep that there. I have a camp chair. Now, some people say that this might be a little extra. I've been on many hikes without this. I find that sitting on the ground after hiking all day is a bit of a drag. So most of my friends have these. I went out and bought one. It's a small little Helenex. Very handy, sits about a foot off the ground, perfect for nights around the campfire and whatnot. I have a sleeping pad, inch. Also, a couple things for a sleeping pad. It isolates you and insulates you, meaning that it gets you off the ground so it doesn't suck that heat from you. Also, it's a comfort factor as well. My sleeping bag. So the temperatures are going to be around 40 degrees or so at night at the altitude in the Tetons. This is rated for 30. And I also have an insert that goes with my sleeping bag. So it's a liner that I can supplement with that. I also wear long johns to bed with normally socks, and I do have hat and gloves if I need that as well. I have a pillow, inflatable pillow, very handy, comes in. I have a top and bottom wet weather gear, right? So I put this towards the top of the pack in case we do hit some inclement weather. I do have a mosquito head net for those of us that hike here in the Midwest, especially up Wisconsin, Michigan. We tend to get into some mosquitoes. It's always nice to have that because they are pesky, and that does ruin a good time if you're trying to sit around a fire. Trekking poles. Trekking poles, I always try to utilize these, especially on hikes, especially with elevation. I read an article once that if you use these appropriately going uphill, you can conserve about 30% of your energy. So I use them. It also helps with having another point of contact for stream crossings, anything narrow. And then also I found that it saves my knees and back when I go downhill too. So many different good things that you can do with your trekking poles. Here we have a put together first aid kit. Some trauma scissors. I do have bug spray in here. I do have an emergency poncho in case something happens, but a lot of it is just basic field dressings and some tape there, Band-Aids, those kind of things. I have a pocket towel because I do take a bit of a pretty refined hygiene kit. So I have ibuprofen, I've got dude wipes, I've got some chapstick here. I also have a toothbrush, toothpaste, and then of course toilet paper. I keep it pretty slim on these hikes because we do have water sources, we do have things we can bathe and whatnot, but I found that that works pretty well. I also do keep some like throat lozenges and severe cold and flu pills in there as well in case I start to feel bad on the trail. Some of the most important things. So carrying water, that's always a question I get. So I have a filtration system, meaning that I can fill up these bags, pump this water, push it through pressure-wise through these filtration systems, and that is filtered water. They do amazing things that gets all of that bacteria and things out of those mountain streams. Those streams are somewhat fairly clear, coming off glaciers off the mountains, but you still want to make sure that you're isolating that and you're filtrating that water. So with that, camp gear, right? So here's where we get the food. I have a camping stove inside this with my small pot. I do also have a lighter and some waterproof matches, and I do have a flint that I have 3 sources to try to get a spark or a flame or a fire. I also take some fire starter as well, where areas where we can light a campfire. Yellowstone, I believe, is a non-fire, so we'll have to see when we get out there. Then, of course, for my camp stove, I have some fuel, right? Keep it small. And then with this trip, more often than not, we don't have to worry about bears. We do have to worry about bears on this. So it's mandatory if you do this trail and you are on the site, you have to have a bear bag or a canister. I chose the bag because it fits in my gear with my pack a little bit easier. I have hydrated meals, so all I have to do is heat up water. Let that soak for a while. They're doing really good things with these meals. They're actually kind of tasty, actually. They have a lot of grams of protein in them. They're good for the trail. I have my spork, long-handled, so it reaches down in the bag, right? Helps with all kinds of eating and whatnot, so you don't have to get messy. And then, of course, I do have coffee, bars, hydration systems, things like that. And that will all go in. So there's also a way that you will pack this. I like to keep everything heavy down towards the end, and then I will try to put the things I use the most on top as well. So something like rain gear, I'm gonna want that towards the top in case we have inclement weather. I can put some of the other hardier things, heavier things down towards the bottom when I just need them at night when we stop. But that's an overall of everything that I take. Like I said, I'm weighing in at about 36 to 38 pounds, just depending upon how much water I have. I usually try to carry about 2 to 3 liters, but with a lot of water sources, a lot of streams, I'll probably only carry 2, but that does add up. But that's what I'm taking on the trip.
If you like this content, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, get notifications for more videos just like this from JCJ Adventures 48.